What is our new God in the West? What is the new power that rules over us? David Irving, one of the world's most famous and well-read historians, a writer with many mainstream historians, saying that he is a brilliant and accurate historian, at this moment sits in prison near Vienna for simply stating his historical opinion about Auschwitz and a lecture in Austria in 1989. German researcher Kenneth Gammer Rudolph faces years of imprisonment for simply publishing a detailed forensic analysis that challenged the authenticity of alleged Auschwitz gas chambers. Ernst Sindel, a resident of Canada in the United States, was ripped from his wife and home because he had politically incorrect opinions about the events of the Second World War. I've been honored to know personally all three of these men. They're kind, witty, humorous men of family, of decency. None of these men were hateful or advocating hate. None of these men were violent or advocated violence. None of these men were terrorists or supported terrorists. None of these men did anything other than to express intellectual opinion at variance of the high priest of the Holocaust. All these men did was have courage to express their opinions, even though they knew that by doing so, everything they held dear was in danger. Their safety, their sustenance, their freedom. But they chose their conscience and they chose their honor, even at the risk of life. Even at the risk of their own heart being stilled forever by the threats of our enemies. Some of the brave men are here today in this conference rooms in jail, physically attacked, lost reputation, freedom, property, career, simply for speaking their conscience. I see a number of them in the room as I look out right this moment. I want to honor one of the men here for his sacrifices over the years and his obedience to his conscience and the truth. A man who is laid in a hospital bed, burned by acid, all the bones crushed, all for doing what his intellect dictated and his conscience demanded. A professor of comparative literature. He is Dr. Robert Carson. And we here in the world would like to say we owe him a debt. As a lot of the most recent revisionism. I'd like to stand for a moment and honor Dr. Carson and his sacrifice. The main theme of the conference is that there must be freedom of speech on this subject as on all others. Free speech, inquiry, and debate is the only way to learn the truth about this issue. In persecutions of Holocaust questioners, authorities have not allowed introduction of any evidence supporting the defendant's claims. The courts have even announced in their guilty verdicts that the quote, that the truth is no defense. In other words, even if the defendant can be shown to be honest and accurate, even if his claims can be substantiated by physical and documentary evidence, he has broken the law simply by questioning aspects of the official Holocaust story. I believe that those whose lives are devoted to the study on this issue have the right to make the final determination of whether there is truth or untruth in the Holocaust. I have an unshakable position on freedom. Obviously, Jews as well as other nationalities suffered great losses during the Second World War. Repression, dispossession, or murder against any group is wrong. Revisionists don't deny that many Jews died and suffered greatly in the war. They condemn any and all injustices done to Jews in that period. It must also be understood that throughout history, the historical treatment of atrocities or crimes against humanity have often been colored by political purpose. Throughout history, some crimes against humanity have been exaggerated and emphasized to justify political agendas and even warfare against other nations. Other crimes against humanity have even been completely ignored or downplayed. An example is the contrast between the crimes of National Socialist Germany and that of Soviet communism. Most researchers readily acknowledge that Bolshevism imprisoned, tortured, and slaughtered many more times people in Russia and Eastern Europe than even the high numbers alleged in the Holocaust. Yet, the Soviet Holocaust received not 1/100 of the attention that the Jewish Holocaust received. Nothing in the media. Can anyone here think of even the name of one movie about the victims of the Bolsheviks Holocaust. And yet most of you can name 5 or 10 movies at least about Jewish victims of the Second World War. Revisionists suggest that an exaggeration and saturation of the Holocaust has been essential to the establishment and support of the Zionist state in Israel, and that it offers a psychological excuse for the large-scale ethnic cleansing, repression, torture, and genocide against the Palestinian people. Revisionists argue that this vested interest of much of the pro-Zionist media and pro-Zionist governments affords a danger that the Holocaust can be distorted and politicized, just as many historical crimes against humanity have either been exaggerated or diminished in pursuit of political agendas. I and every speaker at this conference believe in freedom of speech on all historical and contemporary issues. We believe in freedom of speech, conscience, opinion, and expression. It is the opponents of this conference who clearly don't believe in freedom of speech and conscience. It is they who have thrown elderly men and women into prison for years for simply expressing the heartfelt opinion. Yet instead of condemning these violence, the media even celebrates the imprisonment of human beings who dare to question.